Hi Rassie, congratulations. How does that beer taste?
It's nice. Any beer is nice after a win, especially against a quality team like Ireland, who's totally dominated us since we've been a group together. So we know that they still, if you take the 5 games, they're still, I think, 3-2 up against us. So we won't get carried away with this. But yeah, the beer is a little bit sweeter, and we're just thankful that we could manage to beat them here. And it's been a long season for our guys. I know a lot of the guys must go to Japan and URC games and so on, but I also know the whole Leinster team. There's only 2 not starting of Leinster in that game. They also have to go into URC, so it worked both ways. But we are proud after a long season to grind through a win against a team like them at home for the first time in, I think, 13 or 14 years. So that's okay.
Sum up the 80 minutes for me, if you will, just because it's very, it's a crazy game with so many scrum penalties, yellow cards, players going on and off. I mean, have you ever witnessed anything like that frantic?
Yeah, yes, we had got in the previous game a red card. The guy goes off. We had a concussion called with with a mouth guard that didn't ping. Our week, for example, this week was Monday just seeing can Loord play, can Sous play. Then Monday from 8 o'clock till 12 o'clock we had a hearing with Franco, and then Wednesday from 8 o'clock till 12 o'clock we had a hearing with Loord. So the whole week was crazy for us. So yeah, obviously then the game was very physical, and there was a 20-minute red card given, which I thought was the right call. The referee or one of the touch shatters says always illegal, and which I thought always illegal is a very weird word from when does always illegal start and when does it end. So I think there's something to clear up there, but I thought it was the right call so that the other player could come back onto the field. I do think we were dominant in scrums. I'm not saying I'm not saying who should have gotten yellow cards and who not, but we've been part of quite a few games that was like this, where we had to grind it down to 14 men. There was a totally different challenge here. I thought we were dominant for most parts of the game, but just couldn't kill it when we were inside the 22. So it was hectic. It was difficult to manage. It was difficult sometimes to understand who's off and who's on and who comes back and who's got a HIA and who's injured. But that's test match rugby at the highest level, and you have to understand and manage those kind of things.
Malcolm, congratulations, put on the World Player of the Year. This is a proper front rowers test. 16 scrum feeds for you guys. Probably more scrums than line-up feeds for once. Talk us through how tough that match was out there up against one of the world's best hookers there in Sheehan.
Yeah, it was obviously a tough game, and obviously having that many scrums isn't pleasing on the neck, but we know what a quality side they are and what a quality pack they have. We knew it was going to be tough, so we obviously had to ground that out and obviously try and put as much pressure as we could throughout the game to try and get reward from it. I thought they did extremely well in the second half, where they held us out when we had a few penalties and all of that. But they're a quality side. I think tonight they showed that even with 12 guys on the field.
Congratulations. It must have been very tough to keep ahead of what's going on. Was there a lot of communication between yourself and the players and the referee to understand what's going on? Was it confusing at times?
No, that's fine. We knew what was happening. And obviously at halftime as well, we made plans, but throughout the game, we knew exactly, and that's why we took the options that we took on the field when we got penalties. We understood where they had numbers short, and then we won, and the scrum was working, and we wanted to go in that. So the communication was very good, and also Coach Rassie and the staff were passing messages through Dwayne, and then so we're all in the same head.
Rassie, we haven't really seen a performance of that physicality for a long time. It was so many levels. There were moments where in the second half, picking scrum after scrum after scrum under the post. Was that one of your aims today, to really show the physical dominance and put down the marker at that point?
No, I think Ireland were just as physical. I mean, to keep us out there, after a dominant scrum, and then the tackles they made, and the turnovers they made inside the 22, they matched us there. So it was physical, but I don't think they came out second best on the physicality. Because if they scored in the last 4 minutes, then it was a kickoff and match was on. So no, I think we were dominant in the scrum specific, but I think all over the game. There was dominance from them on the air, on the scraps on the ground, at the breakdown. So certainly not a perfect performance, but like all of you guys asked this whole week, there's a bit of a monkey on our back that we have to get off. And as all of you asked me the whole week, is it the revenge? It's not revenge. When you play like a team like this, you just want to fix something and try and beat them here. So no, we don't. We feel we were dominant in the scrums, but all over in the game, we don't feel we were that dominant. Obviously, we took the scrums because they were down to 7, and so they had a lockout with the 20 the red card, and then Beard got injured as well. So we could have taken those 3 points and maybe extended the lead, but because they were 14, we stuck in there. And yes, if I just say we were totally dominant, that's not true. They were also in certain areas dominant.
Those guys got changed in the props just before half-time, before today.
Boan is in his 7th test cap, and obviously scrumming next to Malcolm he did really well. Thomas was excellent, but we know how strong, and the whole team knows. I think we must also remember, we lost Oxenche with off the ball tackle. Not that person should have got sanctioned, but we lost Ox, we lost Jan Hendrik Vessels, we lost 2 of our 5 locks. There's a couple of guys who's not here, so I almost thought this game was 2 bands too far for us to try and get through it. So it wasn't a very experienced. Thomas is obviously very experienced, but then just, Wilco's strength is his scrumming, and Gerard is a really strong scrummager. And I think we did get some reward when we send him on just before halftime. So, you can do it 5 minutes after halftime. But normally when you take guys, you play them at halftime, you've got 15 minutes rest, and then those guys can go another 4 or 5 minutes and empty their tank, and then you can send the fresh guys on at a specific time when it's very vital. Well, that just happened to be 2 or 3 minutes before halftime, where it normally happens 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes after halftime. So I think if you talk to anybody, Gerard and Wilco is probably our 2 strongest scrummagers. Not I'm saying better rugby players and deserve to. The other guys should start ahead or behind them. They're just more dominant, specifically at scrums.
Question? Up there and then under.
Rassie, you seem very happy at full time. Thumbs up. Who was that aimed at? The Irish crowd referee, your own players? Who was that aimed at?
No, there were South Africans sitting in front of us and saying thank you, and I said thank you back to them.
They were cheering you on during the game.
It's the coach's box. I remember even when I coached Munster here, the coach's box is like soundproof. You can't really get the vibe of what's going on the field. You get it through the referee mic more or less. And this is a special stadium. The crowd is special. They've got manners when the kicker kick. I love the way the pre-match of the military band. I'm glad they gave RG a bit of a welcoming when he ran onto the field. So it was a thank you to our people, and we've got respect for the way the Irish people support their team, because I think it was 19 games on the trot now that they've won here. So it was, for our guys, thank you for the support. The Euro versus the Rand is not too strong. And for our people still to come out here and you could still hear them, it was just a thank you.
Rassie, next week's game is outside of the test
Yeah.
period. How many of the players are not available?
Quite a few. Obviously, all the guys that plays in the Premiership, guys like Thomas, guys like Boan, RG, guys like Edwell playing URC. Kirtley is obviously out. We don't even mention Fussy. Fussy is out. There's a 9 that's not available for this game. That goes back. Who is it? Grant is going back to the Sharks. He must play there. So we spoke to our URC friends out in South Africa. So yeah, we'll probably try next week with only 25 players in the group. So we'll assess the injuries tonight. There's quite a couple of guys that must also go back to Japan. Jesse can't play. Some of the Japanese clubs asked us nicely, they've helped us out with the Japan match that was outside the window. And this match is now also outside the window. But it's the same for Wales. They've got also a couple of players who's playing the Premiership, and there's no getting away from Premiership rules. You can't play in matches outside the window. So we'll assess our injuries. But I guess there's about 14 to 15 guys who's here currently who won't be available next week. And then obviously the other guys like Edwell will stay there. Grant will go back. There's another one going back. I can't remember now quite who it is. Marnie's going back to Japan. He's only just fresh in Japan, and the club asked can he join them because their season starts next week. So we'll regroup and see. But yeah, probably only 24, 25 guys touring with us to Wales.
As you just coming through the Rugby Championship, very tough, and now this autumn series, are you confident that you're still setting the benchmark for the other teams? Or do you feel the other teams are catching up to you? If the World Cup was, say, next week or next year, where your standard is still quite high as world champions?
Well, our aim this year was to try and end in the top 4. We played Ireland, they're 4 in the world currently. So I think some people might have expected us to win because they're 4 in the world and we won in the world. But we still know if we lose to Wales next weekend, we can drop 2 places. But being in the top 4 in world rankings this year was probably the aim for us while rotating. I think we've used 50 players this year. And next year can be probably a bit more experimental because I think the 7th of December, the World Cup draw is taken. And if you're outside the top 5 or 6, then you might be like in a pool of death with, I don't know, that France win? Or when are they playing tonight? Yeah, France can move to 5 or something like that. So our first goal was to be in the top 4 so that the pool draw can be okay. But we're realistic. Australia gave us shots. The first match against New Zealand we lost. We lost 2 matches this year, 2 matches last year. So I think we're in the up in certain areas. But, losing Ox, Jan Hendrik and all of those guys, it's tough to lose. And Frans Malherbe will only be ready next year, June. And we had to bring a few youngsters into the mix. So I think we are getting better in swapping in and out in different positions. But a lot of work still to do if we think we can stay at the top.
Last question today.
Malcolm, I know you're you're a man of immense humility. You've been named World Player of the Year. It's only the second time Hook has won. I think the only time before that was that great Keith Wood. I mean, are you celebrating silently and smiling inside? Is there going to be a big celebration today? How are you feeling?
I don't think it's really sunk in, to be honest. But to be fair, none of this is sort of achieved without the team environment we have, without the management, without the players. We are a tight-knit group, and things like this happen when obviously you have a group that we have. So in my opinion, this isn't for me just an individual award. I think it's more a team award because the support and the structures that we have for guys to express themselves is unbelievable. So it's not just for me, it's for our team, it's for South Africa. So